Hi, welcome everybody to the Cape Cod Public Procurement Association, Officials Association. This is the January 25th meeting. It's now 9:35, so I'm going to officially start the meeting. I'm going to, I hope everybody had a chance to review the meeting minutes. I did send over August 19th, September 28th, and November 23rd. So I don't know if any of our CCAPPO members wants to make a motion right now. I'll entertain one to accept the meeting minutes. We can do them all together or individually if there are any changes or issues. Would anybody like to do that?
Hi, it's Kathleen again. I just want to make a note that the September minutes was missing the attendance list
Yes.
on there. Oh, okay.
Yep.
And then on the August 19th, I'm not sure, but I noticed that Kathleen Tutt's name was there twice and mine wasn't there, and I'm pretty sure I was there. Do you think there was an error?
There might have been. So let's double check that. The September 28th attendance Amber was going to get. I didn't attend that meeting. She did, so she was trying to go back to that Zoom meeting and get an attendance for that. So if you did attend, you can always let Amber know and she can confirm. But as for the August 19th, let me pull that up because I did have that attendance list. So, and then we can amend at least that one. 1st August, sign in. Yes, I have confirmation that you did sign in. So what we'll do is we can amend the August 19th meeting minutes to make sure that your name is there for as a participant. So we will do that, and then the September ones we could always table until we get the official attendance for that meeting. So if anyone wants to make a motion. Oh, Amber's here.
Thank you. Can I make a motion to?
Yeah, absolutely.
I will do that then. With the changes.
With the changes. Okay, so we're going to approve the August 19th meeting minutes with the approved changes of adding Kathleen to the attendance. September 28th, did you want to table or also accept? And then we can amend it maybe at a later meeting.
We can accept if that's okay with the group.
Okay, and then November 23rd, as presented, do I have a second? Would anybody like to second?
I'll
Kathleen?
second that, Jen. Oh,
thanks, Amber.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
Okay. So all those in favor, you can do so by raising your hand or saying yes in the chat. And then we can go ahead and do our, okay. Looks good. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. All right, so the motion passes. All right, so the first sort of presentation / update, I have Janet here from MHEC. She sent over some information about the COVID rapid tests. So I invited her to come and give us kind of like a quick update on that so that she could talk to the members. Janet, are you on? You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes,
okay.
we can.
Sorry.
No worries.
You know that MHEC has responded to the need for test kits. Hopefully this is ending soon, but you never know. So we have put together a website. The website address is mhec.net/rapid-test-kits. You would need to log into our website in order to obtain this information. And there are several suppliers that are offering these test kits, and they're in various kinds, quick view home test kits. So we've got School Health Corporation, we've got WestNet, we've got BWR International, and Fisher Scientific. I'm going to send a list. I'm going to send this breakdown of exactly what they have to Jennifer. And Jennifer, if you wouldn't mind distributing it to the group here, this will, you know, if there's a need, we've got you covered. So we just wanted to make sure that you knew that we had worked with our suppliers to get these things on board. Hopefully we won't need them, but I think we're still going to need them for a little while. So if you're having any trouble finding them, just wanted to let you know on that. And also wanted to let you know that we've got some events coming up that we'd like you to be aware of. Number one, we've got a number of supplier meetings you don't need to know about, but we're having our annual golf tournament June 3rd at Blackstone National Golf Course. And we're having back in person again, with the good Lord willing, on September 22nd, we're going to have our MHEC annual expo at the Worcester DCU. So any questions on any of this? I didn't want to take up too much time. So, but Jennifer, I'll send you these sheets that have all this, and then people can access them, or you can just go to the website and check them out.
That's
and
awesome.
That's it.
Thanks,
Thank
Jan.
you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to move to our first presentation. So today's theme was basically cooperative contracts. So we have Stephanie Eakes from, I'm sorry, I totally mispronounced that, I'm sure. From
You're good. It is Eckes. Yes.
Eckes.
No.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Portuguese, I'm used to my Portuguese names, and that's about it. So yeah, so if you want to, I don't know if you have a presentation that you wanted to share your screen.
All right. So what I thought, Jennifer, based on kind of our conversations about what you wanted for the group today, is I thought I would take everyone through our website to show some of the resources. Okay. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So just to give a real brief overview of who we are, what we do, why we do what we do. Sourcewell is a government organization created out of statute back in 1977. So part of what we offer is cooperative purchasing to any government, education, or nonprofit throughout the United States. We have a procurement team that develops different categories, and then we announce on a nationwide scale that we're going out to bid or out to RFP, request for proposal. And then we go through, our procurement team goes through that process. So we host Q&A sessions. All of the responses are dated and timestamped. It goes through a 1,000-point scoring system. It goes to our board for approval. We enter into a contract, and then any government, education, or nonprofit can participate if they so choose off of our contracts. So just going through the website here, I wanted to take you through, because in speaking with Jennifer, what she kind of wanted me to focus on are just the resources that are available to you to participate with the Sourcewell contracts. There is no fee. There is no obligation to ever make a purchase. It is truly just a sourcing option for you. You may talk to suppliers who say, are you a member of Sourcewell? And that's okay, but we're trying to get away from that term membership because that does tend to imply fees, dues, renewals, those types of things. It's just kind of a word. And so don't let it mislead you that membership includes those things. This is truly just another sourcing option for you. So as a government organization, there is no username or password to look at this. It's all public information. The website is sourcewell-mn for Minnesota.gov. And where you're going to kind of want to focus is up here at cooperative purchasing. If you do the drop down, where I like to start with folks is how it works. So this really kind of explains our process so that you can match it up to make sure that it does in fact align with your internal processes. So got just a brief overview of cooperative purchasing, but if you click on this link with compliance and legal information, this is going to take you to the statute with which we were created under. It's also going to show our bylaws, our policy, our name change. Some of you, hopefully everyone's familiar with Sourcewell, but if you're not, you maybe are familiar with NJPA. We were formerly known as National Joint Powers Alliance until 2018. In 2018, we did the switch or the name change to Sourcewell. Everything with our organization stayed the same except for the name. We found that the NJPA was getting confusing. People were associating us with New Jersey, and we were kind of becoming just another acronym. So it just made sense to go through that. So, but the portion that I love on the website here is it goes through where you can search by your state statutes to see if you are allowed to use cooperative purchasing. So my guess is most of you are familiar with that state statute, but I do like to kind of point out, because Massachusetts is a little bit unique from the states around you, in that you can only procure products off of cooperative purchasing. You cannot procure labor. So if you're looking for an HVAC system and you want the company that you buy the product from to install it, you would actually have to do your own RFP or bid for the installation and the labor. So I always try to point that out because I don't ever want you to be misled and think that Sourcewell is your be all save all, because we would love to be, because ultimately our goal is to save you time and money. But that is not going to save you time in the long run, because it will create auditing headaches for you. So just note that when you're utilizing Sourcewell, you want to utilize us for products and not necessarily anything that included labor. So any questions with that? Feel free to raise hands or put items in the chat if you have any questions in regards to that. So this document here, you can download. So I encourage people, we hear of a lot of agencies that will print it out and have it in their files, things like that. So that's the legal section. Going back up to cooperative purchasing, and this time going down to vendors and contracts. This is a great tool to search. If you're looking for a specific product, a specific supplier, a certain item, this is where you can search for that. One thing that I like to mention is that when we award at the manufacturer level. So John Deere is a great example because everyone's familiar with John Deere. We award the contract to John Deere. If you come to the website and search for your local dealer's name, they are not going to come up. So you want to make sure that you're searching for the manufacturer that you're buying from, whether it's Caterpillar, John Deere, New Holland, that type of thing. If you search for A&B equipment, which may be the name of your local John Deere dealer, they will not come up. However, when we award at the manufacturer level, that does allow the local dealers to sell to you. So you can go to your local John Deere dealer, let them know that you are a participating agency with Sourcewell, and ask them to quote you off the Sourcewell contract. When you walk through that process with them, you're under no obligation to make the purchase. You're just initiating the conversation to see what the discount might be and if you can save money. So let's walk through this process. We'll go to just a fleet and related. We're going to narrow down a category. Let's say you're not sure exactly who you want, but you want to see the different suppliers that are awarded under a certain product. Let's do public utility equipment. We're going to hit enter. So these are the different suppliers that came up under just narrowing down those categories. Every awarded manufacturer is going to have what we refer to as a landing page. So if you look at this page here, we've got Alltech Industries. The contract number is going to be up at the top. Our contracts are always going to be 6 letters followed by a dash and 3 letters. The expiration date, we award in 4-year terms. And so typically we're trying to get out ahead if we're coming up to that expiration date of that contract so that we can have another contract in place before that expires. So that procurement process is typically taking place about 9 to 11 months before the expiration of that contract. You'll see a summary of products and services, quite often a link to that supplier's website. Then if you click down here with contract documents, you're going to find all of the documentation regarding that specific RFP. So everything from our announcement of the request for proposal, that affidavit of advertisement, which does go out nationwide, the dated and time-stamped, the evaluation or the scoring system, our procurement team's comments, reviews, the board minutes, and then a copy of the contract and any other addendums or extensions. Now I want to open just the evaluation so you can take a look at that. We do award on a 1,000-point scoring system. So when we award, we do award on overall best value. We're looking for the companies that can serve our participating agencies nationwide. They're going to provide the best warranty, the best service, but ultimately the best price. And so if you have a local requirement that requires you to award on best value or lowest price, on lowest price, we may not be the best option for you. But if you're allowed to go to overall best value, that is how we award on. However, 400 points of that 1,000-point scale is awarded on pricing. And so quite often we are getting the lowest prices. If you ever have a question on that, we're more than happy to go through the document with you and let you know exactly how they scored on pricing and what their pricing is. So any questions on that? Okay. All right, the pricing tab. This tab gets a little bit tricky because we're a government organization. Not all of our suppliers were willing to publish their contract or discount pricing for all of their competitors to see. So quite often when you come to this page, you're going to see kind of a standard discount price. You're not going to see the list price with the discount price so you can see exactly what you're paying. We recognize that that is important and you need to be able to see that information quickly. And so we do have a new website coming out. Probably we're looking at, I would guess, March, April timeframe now, where you'll be able to log in and see the pricing documents if you are a participating agency with Sourcewell. It's also going to be where you can compare, like if you're comparing two suppliers to see what they offer, you can see the pricing of each one and do a comparison that way. So we are excited about that. In the meantime, however, if you click contact information, we do assign 2 Sourcewell employees to administer or oversee every contract. So I'm here from the client relations perspective. I'm here to help you search for things. If you are looking for volleyball sand for a park or any type of random item and you're not finding it, not really sure where to start, email me and I'll do that research for you. I'll come back to you and send you all of the contracts and contacts that offer that particular product. However, I don't know the ins and outs of all 400 contracts that are available to you. And so we assign a Sourcewell employee to oversee each contract. So Andy Campbell and Jill Park oversee the Alltech Industries. If you get a quote from Alltech, you can send it to them and say, Andy, can you please verify the pricing that I received on this quote is in fact per Sourcewell pricing? Or you can email Andy and say, Andy, please send me the Alltech pricing document they submitted for this request for proposal. And they'll get back to you right away with that information. We know that a lot of times as government agencies, you need to cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and so we'll make sure that that gets done for you. We also, on all of our contracts, request that they provide us with a national representative. So Riley Brown is there. Maybe you don't know who your local dealer is. You can reach out to that national dealer. In a lot of cases, they'll help you or get you to the closest or nearest dealer to you. So that is your contact information. Also, other good examples of when or why or how to reach out to these contacts is if Andy or Jill, maybe you have a question on if used equipment can be covered under a contract or are trade-ins allowed under a contract, they would be great resources for you. If a dealer is not being responsive, supply chain delays, we're seeing a lot of that right now. They're great resources for you as well. So Chris, looks like you have a question.
Yes, thank you. So for a municipality that would be a price-based and not a value-based procurement, if we gather prices from these contractors, we can validate those prices through you and use that as
Yes.
the price-based award?
Yes, yes. It's going to take a little bit more work, but we're happy to help you with that. Absolutely. So
Thank you.
what you would want to do is either reach out to myself and I would be happy to get that process started, or you can reach out to the supplier development representative and they can pull all of the pricing for the different suppliers that you're looking at to help you determine that they were in fact the lowest price. Yep.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Good question. All right, any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna head back up to cooperative purchasing. Another little tool, excuse me, I'm gonna go back down to vendors and contracts. Another tool that I like to point out is this spreadsheet in the middle. This is a really helpful spreadsheet to see what suppliers we have and that you have access to. So this list is alphabetized. You'll see the contract number on the left. Actually, can everyone see that okay? Thumbs up if, okay. Sometimes it opens on a different page and not the page I'm sharing. So you've got the contract number, the vendor or supplier name, the category for which they were awarded, the solicitation title, and then of course the expiration date. But this is a good way if you just kind of want to scroll through to see if certain suppliers are on our list. I often encourage, as a participating agency, if you see a supplier on here that you're using, but not under a Sourcewell contract, reach out and say, we're a participating agency with Sourcewell. Am I getting the best fee on my current agreement, or can you do a comparison with what I would save on Sourcewell? There's no cost for you to switch. It's just, again, simply another sourcing option for you. We hear that a lot with like Staples, Grainger on some of those types of products, and janitorial supplies. Napa is another one I hear often. Oh, we had no idea you had Napa. And quite often people will find out that they could be saving more under the Napa contract that we offer. So this is a great resource just to see the breadth of the different contracts that are available to you. So. And again, that's on a spreadsheet right as you open up the vendors and contracts page, cooperative purchasing, vendors and contracts, and right here at the top. All right, and our last kind of section is our solicitation page. This is great if you're looking to see what's coming up. We value your voice because it's what develops different categories for us. So if there's a category that you really see a need for, let us know. We'll put that on the procurement team's list to investigate and research. And like I said, we're here to serve you. And so if there's things that we can do better or improve on, please let us know. And we'll add it to the solicitation or the category development side. I'm going to pause. It looks like Katie has a question.
Hi there. Sorry, it took me a while to figure out how to ask a question, so it kind of goes back. But the other gentleman that asked the question about the price-based, I just wanted to make sure of what I understand when you're saying that you're value-based and price-based. That in my head, that means that it went out for an RFP instead of an IFB. Is that kind of what you mean about, like, because you're saying like an organization is either price-based or could be value-based? So it's how you put it out there. Like,
Right.
Like my organization could do it either way. We just have to pick which way we're putting it out.
Right. We typically are going to go out for an RFP. But what we can do is, so when we award, we always award on overall best value. But a lot of times the overall best value is also the lowest price supplier to respond. And so what we can do is go through that. We'll go back through all of the documents, and then we'll also be able to tell you, yes, they were in fact the lowest supplier to respond.
Okay, and in my organization, we can also put out an RFP and go with the best value.
Okay.
So that means that I just was trying to figure out when you said like which organization can do it, that makes sense that the value would be okay for us because of the way you put it out. Okay, thank you for your help.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Okay, so on the solicitation page up at the top, you're going to see the general solicitations that are in process right now, when the responses are due, anything that is pending, which means that it's going through that evaluation process or going to our board for approval. And then also you'll see anything that was recently awarded. This section, I wish you could click on this and see who was awarded. That's probably one of my biggest pain points. But that is oh, actually they've added it. This is like new, like brand new. I have been asking for this for months. It used to be that you would click on this and it wouldn't tell you who was recently awarded. And so I thought that was frustrating because you would click on it and you wouldn't see. So they've now added that here so you can see the companies that have been recently awarded in that category. So that's so awesome. Good. So that is kind of a quick overview of the process. As I stated, it is just a sourcing option for you. One thing I like to explain too is a lot of organizations will ask us, well, how are you funded? Why do you do this? And how it works is that we are actually funded by the suppliers. So if you go make a purchase from Staples, let's say, for some office furniture, when we award the contracts to Staples, we actually negotiate with them a percentage. So typically it's anywhere from 0.5% to 2%, depending upon kind of the products and services, and that supplier, of course, too. And so Staples actually reports the transactions to us on a quarterly basis, and they pay us a percentage that was negotiated in their contract. Now, when you're going through the process, you don't have to tell us that you're making a purchase off of a Sourcewell contract. Actually, thousands of transactions take place every day that we're not a part of. But please know that we are here to support you if you have any questions on research, contract documents, pricing, supplier not being responsive, anything at all that we can help you with. But you don't have to tell us you're making a purchase off Sourcewell. That is up to the supplier. They'll let us know, and they'll report those sales on a quarterly basis. As a government organization, that money then is reinvested into additional category development so that we can continue to expand and offer you more contracts. Any other questions?
Just a reminder, everybody might be muted, so you can use your electronic hand. If you have a camera, you can use your real hand. No?
Oh, looks like Katie has a question.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Could you just share your email again?
Yes. So it's kind of long, and maybe Jennifer, is there a way to send it out in the group? But
yeah, absolutely. I can actually put it into the. I'll put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we have another question.
Perfect. And as so I am the client relations administrator for the Northeast. And so, like I said, if I get requests all day long of folks looking for certain mowers or different products. And so shoot me an email. And like I said, I'm more than happy to do that research for you. Sometimes searching for specific items like that on the website can be time consuming. So email me your specs. I'll kind of like shop it to the different contracts and then come back and provide you with the contact information and the contract, a link to the contract documents that offer that product and service. We don't ever give out your contact information. However, I have had a few people in the past say, I need this now. If you find a supplier that has it, have them call me. In that case, we certainly will, but that doesn't happen very often. So.
Katie, you have your hand up.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
apologize. One more
No,
question.
no.
and This might be a
Yeah.
question more for Jennifer, but I'm not sure. You mentioned that we can only use this for products and not labor. When you say the word labor, do you mean service as well? Yes. Okay, Jennifer saying yes.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Only state contracts, only contracts and combis can you use both services, labor, and commodities. Anything else, it's the way that it's written into Mass General Law, just commodities. Unfortunately, it's something that's lacking. I one of those things that legislators make these decisions, and and then us procurement folks are like, this is making our job harder. So
Okay, cool. Thank you. That's really helpful to know.
no problem.
And not to make it any worse, but Massachusetts is alone in that.
Shocker. I'm not surprised.
Unfortunately, all of your neighboring states are able to do more and able to do everything off of cooperative contracts. So, but yeah, that's why we also feel it's important to point that out, because we definitely don't want you to get into any trouble. Or, like I said, we're here. The whole point of Sourcewell is to save other government, education, and nonprofits time and money. And so we're really here to serve, and we would be doing a disservice if we didn't let you know that up front. So,
of course, much appreciated. Well, thank you, Stephanie. Are there any other questions? I'm thinking of taking just a quick, couple of minute break. Everybody can stretch around, grab something to drink, and we can reconvene at 10:10 for our next presentation. How's that sound? Good? Thumbs up?
well, thank you everyone for inviting me in, and please reach out if there's anything at all I can assist with.
Absolutely. Thank you, Stephanie. I really appreciate it. All right. So everybody take a quick break, and we'll return at 10:10. I'll put that into the chat so that way if there's anybody that's not at their computer right now. All right, I'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right. 10:10 on the dot. All right, so welcome back, everybody. So our next presentation, continuing with our cooperative contract theme of the of the meeting, is Marielle Reed and Becca Blazak from CoProcure. Last year, just to give you a quick, little intro, last year I was a panelist for one of the national procurement conventions. I actually don't recall which one, it's so bad, but that's how Marielle and I connected, because as she'll probably let you know, she is actually a Cape Codder, even though she's on the West Coast now. So we had that connection. We started talking about the Cape. So it was a great intro to that. And then she kind of told me all about CoProcure and what services they provide. So definitely excited to have you here and presenting to our group. So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and show us what CoProcure is all about.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. And hi, everyone. My name is Marielle Reed, and as Jennifer said, I'm a Cape Cod native, grew up in Orleans, went to Nauset High School, and anyway, it's awesome to be back in a way presenting for you all. Let's see, a bit of context. So I found my way into the world of public procurement by way of working first in the technology sector. So after graduating from college, came out to the Bay and joined a tech startup focused on education, and loved being on the West Coast and in the Bay Area. But I think like many folks working in tech, sort of felt like there was this big gap between what's available for our private lives in terms of tech services, and maybe too much tech sometimes available there, versus kind of the public challenges that I was learning more about being someone new to the city. So I ended up actually joining the mayor's office here in the city and county of San Francisco. And that's where I really fell in love with procurement. I got to work on a bunch of projects where I got to see the very direct impact that those purchasing decisions have. But as an older millennial, I felt, again, increasingly frustrated by just like, man, there's so much tech out there. I can order takeout, I can call a car, I can hire a babysitter, whatever it is, with all of these apps, all of these great websites. And yet when I'm making a purchase on behalf of the city and county, spending a lot more money than I would be, ordering dinner, et cetera. There isn't kind of an easy way to do that with a consumer-like experience that's equivalent to those private sector ones. So anyway, I got frustrated enough about that experience that I ultimately decided to do something about it and start CoProcure. So CoProcure is not a purchasing cooperative. We think of ourselves a bit like Google. So the pain I know that many of you probably face is hearing about great resources like Sourcewell, like the state of Massachusetts, the Combis resources, like the awesome contracts Jennifer has helped to coordinate, and just wondering in the moment, oh man, okay, I need something. Where do I go to find if a contract even exists for that? And so what CoProcure does is basically aggregates all of this information from different sources. We have over 300 sources on the site today. So from the national purchasing cooperatives, Combis, we even have the local contracts that Jennifer has helped to create in there. So you essentially can just go to one place, type in whatever you're looking for, and see in a few seconds if there's a contract that exists. And if so, where to go, to get additional information or to take the next steps. So again, the idea there is like, oh man, it shouldn't take hours of calling and emailing just to figure out if a contract exists. One of the reasons I've really enjoyed working in the public sector is that spirit of collaboration is so strong. And folks like Jennifer and others, I'm sure in this group, are more than willing to answer questions when you give them a call. But it can be a lot of work. So again, we think about CoProcure as kind of building that collaboration infrastructure to empower the spirit of collaboration that's already quite strong in the public procurement community. So that's a bit of context about me. And yeah, my folks are actually out here visiting the West Coast from Cape Cod. They're taking care of my 9-month-old son this morning, so I can join you here, which is great. And anyway, it's just fun again to have that connection. So my colleague Becca is here on the line, and she's going to take you through a quick tour of the website and show you some things that you can do there. But again, the fundamental idea is just like start your search here and see in a couple of seconds all of the options that might be available for you and where to go for more information. The tool is totally free, which I know Becca will reiterate as well. Again, we think of ourselves a bit like Google. So the same way Google wouldn't want to charge you for running searches on Google, we don't want to discourage you or have to deter any public agency from being able to use the service by putting up a fee or having to be procured by your agency. We raised venture capital to be able to build this business. So truly, when we think of ourselves like Google, that kind of holds as well. It's a strange thing, I know, trying to explain to my parents, or it's like, wait, you're a business, but you're not generating revenue? How does that work? It works because we've raised money from investors who are placing a bet that the value of putting all this information in one place will be able to unlock a lot more future value, especially from the suppliers that have a lot of trouble also selling into this market. It's quite expensive to get access to government. Oftentimes we see, especially local suppliers have been awarded a contract. Like I think Stephanie mentioned, hey, you can work with a distributor or someone that's local, but oftentimes those folks don't necessarily know where to direct you either. So we see a huge opportunity long-term to build a business here, but assessing a fee on the supplier side. And again, not putting up any barriers to entry on the government side when it comes to accessing this information. So yeah, we're both here. Becca's going to take you through a tour, but as you can probably tell, we spend a lot of time having these conversations and we love making them conversations. So if you have questions as we're going along, don't feel like you need to wait to ask those. Please just go ahead and jump in, interrupt us. I know it can be a little awkward on phone, but we really don't mind being interrupted. We love your questions. And if you're thinking something, odds are someone else in the group probably has the same question. So Becca, I'll hand it over to you to introduce yourself and take us through a quick tour. But as I said, please feel free to chime in at any point as we go along.
Yep, and I'll rely on Mari to interrupt me as I go, but I'll make sure to pause along the way for questions. Good morning, everyone. I'm Becca Blazak, and I manage our partnerships and community engagement at CoProcure, which means I spend a lot of my time talking to folks on procurement teams like you all across the country, basically doing what I'm about to do in the next couple of minutes, sharing a little bit more about how to use CoProcure, kind of how to make the most of the tool. But also we're starting to think a lot more about other resources that we can offer to the procurement community. As Mari said, the spirit of collaboration has always been really strong, and I think that's something that excites a lot of folks on our team. I've also spent a little bit of time working sort of public sector adjacent and also in the public sector, and also on the nonprofit side of things. So building up that sort of that community is something that I really love to do and something that we're testing out a bit at CoProcure. So keep an eye out for some updates around that. We're hosting an event actually tomorrow on job order contracting and cooperative contracts with a buyer who's a purchasing services manager in South Carolina about how he took an approach to leading that contract. And hopefully it's going to be supporting a lot of regional collaboration across the state of South Carolina. So that's kind of the type of free resources and education that we're looking to sort of test out and build at CoProcure, so to sort of go alongside our free product, which helps you find all of these contracts all in one place. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. I usually use Zoom, so give me a second. I think I just have to scroll through all my screens. Can you see my CoProcure homepage, or are you looking at something else? Okay. Great, because I can no longer see anybody else on Teams, so I have no idea. Okay, so what you're looking at here is the CoProcure homepage. So if anyone has a second monitor going and you want to follow along, you're free to do so. If you just go to the website, it's coprocure.us, this is exactly what you're going to see. There's no implementation to get started. You don't have to create a login. You can actually just start searching the same way that you would on Google or even another search engine like Yelp or Expedia. What you're going to do is you're going to type in the thing that you're looking to purchase. Add your zip code, so I've added one in for Barnstable, and then you just add in your government affiliation. So if it was Barnstable County, you type that in here. I just leave CoProcure in because, you know, that's who I am. And so let's go ahead and do a search. So, we can search for all kinds of different things on CoProcure. I'm going to start with water chemicals here. So what we're doing here is we're going to show you the strongest matches for what you typed into the search bar first. So it looks like Barnstable County has a water chemicals contract. That one's going to pop up first because, we're in Barnstable. It matches our search hits, and we're going to be able, we could do a little more investigation on that contract if we'd like. Down below that, we're going to see additional contracts that look like they fit. So I'm looking at a bunch from Combi's state of Massachusetts here. And then as we scroll down, you're going to see other options from Omnia, from Savic, from Byboard. And that list probably continues to go on as I go down the page. We've got GSA in here as well. So like Mari said, we are pulling from over 300 different sources, and this is sort of a quick snapshot of what that looks like in a search results.
Yeah, just a note there as well. We hear a lot of the time that folks have maybe heard of Sourcewell or Omnia or a few other national purchasing cooperatives, but there are a lot of different cooperatives out there. And so I think hopefully one of the advantages of, again, aggregating all of this information in one place is finding maybe some of the stuff you expected to see, like in this instance, again, the contract from the County of Barnstable or Massachusetts, but also hopefully discovering some other resources without necessarily having to go directly to their websites or even have heard about them previously.
Right. So let's go ahead and jump into one of these contracts here just so that you can see what this would look like. I'm going to jump into the state of Mass. And these will all look a little bit, most of the same information will be on all of these different contract pages. So what I'm looking at here is the contract page for this water treatment chemicals contract, and that's the title of the contract up here. We can see that it's led by the state of Massachusetts. The Metro Group is a supplier I'm currently looking at, but there are a number of different suppliers that have been awarded this contract, and I could view all those suppliers by just clicking here. And I can see that this 87% match is telling me that pretty much all these suppliers are going to have some type of water chemical. The contract number is listed in here for your reference. We also have the expiration date, and you can also jump to the source where this contract came from. So if you wanted to just jump over to the state of Massachusetts, to Combi's, you could just compare this information, make sure that it all looks the same for you. We're pulling over the master price file. This is the sort of main, I think, documentation that Combi's posts. So you can download this right from CoProcure, and I'm going to show you another example of what another page looks like because we're going to have some other contract documents depending on the source. But that's sort of a quick snapshot of what this would look like, just so that you could sort of continue, you could start doing that due diligence. As Mari said, we were able to show you everything that exists. You're able to look at the one that looks like the right fit for you, and then we provide the next step, which is, a bit more information so that you can start that due diligence process. So if I do something like, let's do zero-turn mower. All right, so we're going to see we've got a Sourcewell contracts that pop up right away. So if we jump into a Sourcewell contract here, here's all the contract documents that we have for this contract. So this is the main difference I kind of wanted to show you, depending on the source, depending on the documentation that source puts out, and sort of the way that they've structured their website is kind of depends, or it will impact the way that we sort of are able to show information on CoProcure. But the great thing here is with many of these sources, you can actually jump right into the contract documents. So you don't have to download anything. You can actually just view these right here within a PDF viewer. You can navigate through each of these using these little arrows here. If there are certain keywords that you're looking for within within one of the documents, you can actually search using this little search bar. So we know that sometimes there's specific information that you're looking for within a specific document. That makes it easy to sort of find that and jump through, especially for those longer documents. You can download these individually right here from the PDF viewer. You can actually download everything all at once as well, right here on that contract document pop out. So you just click this box like I did, like that, and then the contract documents will all pop out here. A couple other things that you can do from these contract pages, you can get in touch directly with the supplier. So now we're looking at Altos for zero-turn mowers. You'd fill out this little form. What it does is it sends us a notification that says you want to get in touch with the supplier. So we go ahead and we make an intro for you via email. And that way, when the supplier responds, they're responding directly to your email. You don't have to come back to CoProcure to manage any of that messaging. Same thing with this email contract admin. This is going to get you in touch with the lead agency. So in this case, that's Sourcewell. Maybe we're putting you in touch with Stephanie at this case, at this point. But this works the exact same way. You'd fill out a little form and you'd let us know that you would like to get in touch, and we go ahead and we make that email connection. If you were looking at this document list and you were saying, I wonder if a renewal is coming up or I don't see something listed here, you can request missing documents. This also goes to the lead agency. So in this case, that would be Sourcewell. But just wanted to flag that they're both those sort of two different options that would get you in touch with the lead agency, and two different reasons why you might be thinking about it.
One of the other things that we've heard recently, and by the way, we love hearing about when folks are using the site, all of the things that you wish were different, because that allows us to also build something better and make updates to the site. One of the things that we've been hearing recently is like, hey, I actually want to confirm pricing or get information from, say, like 3 suppliers on this contract instead of just one, or maybe 1 supplier here and 2 from another contract. So one feature that we're working on building is a way to make that easier for you, and that should be available soon. But again, essentially the way to be like, okay, select this supplier, this other supplier, and basically message them all of the same message, whether that's confirm pricing or get extra documents or whatever. Again, just to take more of that friction out of the process and help save you some time in doing this detective work.
Yep. So a couple other quick things I'll show you here. So based on mine and Mari's Slacks in the backgrounds, and what I caught sort of at the end of the Sourcewell conversation is that you all can use Combi's documents or contracts for labor and services, but everything else you can only use for commodities. So one thing I wanted to show you here, let's do something like, oh gosh, it's only 7 a.m. here, forgive me. Let's do something like elevator maintenance. So again, we're going to see, oh, great. We're going to see Barnstable County pop up first because you have a contract for that. But we can also use these filters here to filter down for sources that you only want to see from. So let's say it is a service or labor that you're looking for. We can type in state of Massachusetts, which I know, that's weird. I know we have. Oh, there we go, because it's Commonwealth, not state. And then we could also do Barnstable County, save. And now we're only going to see those state of Mass and the Barnstable County contracts for elevator services. So, I know that you all are a bit limited in what you can use, but this is a way to sort of filter that search experience so that you can continue to use Cobra here for a bunch of different needs. And you can use these filters to help with that as well.
Becca, I know one of the other things that's kind of neat is one of the pain points I think came up earlier too is like oftentimes you're looking for a very specific product. So, I think we were talking earlier in the meeting around COVID test kits, and it's like, okay, man, if you're looking for COVID test kits, maybe you would be searching, you're trying to probably figure out like, is it medical supplies? What do I type to basically get a hit for COVID test kits? And I think one of the most exciting things about what we're building is, again, like Google reads all of the web pages for you to show you the most relevant stuff. We're trying to take the work out of even knowing if you should spend time looking at a contract source by presenting information about items that are confirmed to be in scope of specific contracts. So I think you can see here, these are a few national purchasing cooperative contracts that may or may not be available from sources that you recognize. But in these instances, we've confirmed that these products are actually available under the scope of this contract. So again, we're doing our best to kind of save you the time and having to spend that time on detective work of figuring out, is there a contract that even covers this thing? How do I confirm it's within scope? And again, show you right away, hey, we know there are a few contracts at least that cover this, and maybe even more where we haven't yet been able to totally confirm that thing that you're looking for is available. So this is just a quick snapshot of like where available, we have product information. And when we have that and it matches a query that you type in, it'll pop up again to just help you see right away what is available for you to use.
Yep. So you can see here, we're confirming in the scope of the contract a couple different types of COVID tests. There's a SAVIC contract and a buy board contract. It looks like there's a few different suppliers on both these contracts. So you could sort of take those next steps in viewing the contract and seeing, you know, what this doesn't tell you is availability, right? We still have to reach out to the supplier and see if they have it in stock, but this does tell you that, you know, these are covered on a couple different cooperative contracts. For what it's worth, also, we just heard from TIPS earlier this week that Cintas is a supplier that does have COVID tests in stock. So if you're able to use TIPS contracts, I'm happy to reach out and just get a little more information about, you know, how to use that contract and which contract it's covered on, because it looks like it's not on one that would be logical in terms of like medical supplies or first aid. Sometimes suppliers just grab them and have them, and TIPS let us know that they are available through Cintas. So let's see. And as Mari was saying, when we have product information, we really like to show that. If we have photos, we'll even show it. So when you search for things like safety vests or Chromebooks or welding pants, we will show you the photos. If we have it, we will show you the photos of the things that are actually covered in the scope of the contract. And again, that's really just to try and take some of this guesswork out of, you know, here's this really broad titled contract like medical supplies, equipment, and pharmaceuticals. What are all the things that are covered on it? We've worked really hard to try and make that information really clear up front to take some of that pain and time and frustration away.
I would say the one other thing I'd love to highlight is just you can search directly for a supplier name. So I know increasingly we're aiming to get more and more supplier information in there, including the folks that are available to work, even if they haven't been directly awarded a contract, the folks that are available to serve through a contract. So you can certainly search for you know, any supplier on here. I think oftentimes we see local suppliers pop up and they actually do have a contract. When they don't, it's still worthwhile to run that search, because then we know that you're looking for something and can go follow up and try to bring that information online. So yeah, if you just search for like Office Depot or one of those big vendors up here, again, if you know you want to work with a supplier, what contracts are they on? Here you can click into the supplier profile. Office Depot is at the top as a supplier hit, and you can see all of the different contracts that they have been awarded. It's over 46, I think, that we have here. So again, if you ever want to kind of diligence a supplier, you're not sure, hey, I think I want to work with the supplier, I wonder if they're on contracts that might be available to me, you can go ahead and type in their name, and this is just one other way of showing you the same kind of information.
Yep. Exactly. So that's kind of a quick run through of how you can navigate co-procure in a couple different ways based on what you're searching. I need to figure out how to stop sharing my screen now. There we go.
Any questions?
I had one. I was just curious, especially since we had Janet on earlier from MHEC. Is MHEC one of the cooperatives that you have available on co-procure?
That's a great question. I don't.
What does that stand for, Jennifer?
It's the Massachusetts Higher Education Consortium, but they are available to not just higher ed, but also public entities and municipalities. So
great.
Great. I'm not sure if we do.
Yeah, I don't know if we have that source on there, but this is also another thing we love hearing about, where it's like, Jennifer, we didn't know that you have contracts from the county either that should be shared. So as you're using the tool, or if you have questions about sources, we're continuing to add new content literally every day.
Awesome.
So as you have sources where you're like, you know, I use co-procure all the time, but then I also have to go check this other thing. It'd be great if you just pulled this in.
Yeah.
We love hearing suggestions about that, again, because we want to eliminate those steps that you have to take. So we'll probably follow up with you after this, Jennifer, to make sure we get this.
We have one in the chat. Oh, the Greater Boston Police Association. Yeah, we had actually a presentation from them not that long ago. So that would be another one, the Greater Boston Police Chiefs, because they also have a bunch of procurement. And is it MAPC? I think that's another one. The Metropolitan Area Planning Council also has cooperatives in Massachusetts that are available to us.
I think we've pulled in some of those in the past, but I can double check on that as well. Yeah.
Plymouth. Yeah.
Plymouth County. Great. Yeah, no, we love this. Again, we would have started with the big national purchasing cooperatives because we figured
absolutely.
Yeah, the same that would allow us to kind of serve everyone across the country in a very general area of like, okay, at least you don't have to check the 6 to 12, you know, big
right. And
national ones.
especially there's so many of those national ones. Like I've been doing procurement for, it'll be 15 years now, and I only heard of TIPS this last year. So, you know, they're out there.
Yeah, and again, we love hearing where you're spending a lot of time. So I think some things that have come up are like, am I a member of that, or am I allowed to use that? Like, have I used it before? Someone in my organization used it before. So again, we're also trying to think of like features or things we can introduce that will save you time. So we as Becca said, we love these kinds of conversations because they flag where we can be adding more data or changing things about the product to make it even more helpful.
Any questions from the group?
Or comments. We'll take you know, feedback. It can be critical also. That's we actually encourage it. But if it seems helpful, that's also great to hear.
I'm completely biased, so I loved it the second I saw it. I'm like, anything that's going to make our life easier. I'm all about work smarter, not harder. So if I can, you know, search a commodity and 10 things will come up, that'll be great. All at once without having to go to 10 different places. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I will also just share, some folks, depends on your organization, but some folks also end up sharing CoProcure with some of their end users. I know not everyone has like a full-time procurement organization within their agency. And so one of the things we've seen folks do is end up sharing this with some of the folks that they work with and just say, hey, I know you need that thing. Mind saving me a little bit of time? Can you run a first search here? And then I'll check out what you find and see if we can use it from a diligence perspective. One of the other features we're thinking about is like the ability to basically set up for your org or your team some constraints or rules, like, again, a reminder of like no service, you know, only services from the state or something like that might be helpful before you share with end users or other colleagues. So again, we love hearing those ideas, want to help save you time, and we'll be continuing to iterate and improve the experience to do just that.
Yeah, I'll add that if that sounds like something that would be helpful, we're really happy to work with really anybody on that. We actually hosted an event, and you can find the recording for it in December, with Anda Upchurch, who's a buyer in Grand Prairie, Texas. They rely really heavily on their end users. They're fairly decentralized in terms of how they operate in their agency. And we ran, part of how they sort of work to serve their end users was by making it easier for them to find all these cooperative contracts for for a bunch of different purchases that they were making to make sure that they were staying compliant. And part of how they did that was actually introducing CoProcure and having us lead a couple of trainings for them. And so that was something that worked really well in Grand Prairie. And you can sort of catch that recording and a recap of that on our website. I can share that with everybody afterwards.
That would be awesome.
But there's a couple other things too. There's a couple other like fancy other things on the site that might be helpful, and happy to. So if anybody wants to kind of like talk through that and you know, in more detail and figure out, you know, if there's other ways that we can support you, we're really happy to have those conversations, sort of following on to this one.
That would be great. Anybody else?
I'll just add, I'll share the link and we can share this afterwards as well, but we're always happy to do like more custom walkthroughs or demos. Again, I think we've seen most of the time being able to run through a few examples or chat a bit more one-on-one. We see folks that do that with us tend to use the tool every single month afterwards. So I've just dropped into the chat the link to sign up or register for kind of a one-on-one session, or if you want to bring, you know, if there are folks that you work with that are not in this conversation that you'd like some training or to share with them, like Becca said, we're also always happy to do that.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies. If we don't have any more questions, I guess we can continue on. Anybody? Going once, going twice? No? All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was great. I'm hoping to share this with the rest of the group that wasn't able to make the meeting, so that way, you know, we get that information out there for everybody and know that this tool is available to them. So I appreciate it. And thanks for getting up so early. 3-hour time difference over there. So you can go back to bed.
No problem. Like I said, it was when I saw it was like kind of the hometown crew. So that was pretty fun.
No, that's awesome. I really appreciate it. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so I'm going to continue on because it's already 10:40 and I'm sure everybody has a million things to do today. So I'm going to continue on. So the next thing on the agenda is the county bid updates. So I'm just going to run through my list here to see what I have going on. So at this moment, we have the road construction and road resurfacing projects, which are opening next week on the 31st. One is at 10 o'clock, the other one is at 11 o'clock. I'll be hosting those virtually, but I'll be sending out the bid tab sheets immediately within minutes of unsealing everything electronically. So if you can't attend, that's fine. Everybody will still get the information, and it'll be posted on the bonfire website if that pertains to you. We just finished up the procurement for the leasing and maintenance of portable toilets. Those are being evaluated at this time. Just waiting for towns to get back to me on their recommendation and if they want to move forward with an award. So that's that one. And then this week I have the golf course materials that I have to finish up and get out there on the street to put out to bid to vendors, and the trades is coming up again to add contractors to our current directory. And then I'm hoping in the following month, probably end of February, once these have already kind of closed out. Let me just get which ones we're going to be doing next. Okay, so then it's going to be the gasoline, diesel, the fuel oil, paper, water, chemicals, and there are a couple of other miscellaneous ones that might be renewed. So the elevator is up for renewal. Actuarial services is actually all set until 2025. So I'm just going in through my schedule right now on the purchasing website. Actually, I'll share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, there we go. So I'm just kind of going through this list here. And then the C&D and municipal solid waste, I have this contract for, I think, 2 towns currently, but I know our Cape Cod Commission was working on some consultant work on, different issues on the Cape for municipal solid waste and C&D waste. So I'm not sure if they're coming up with a more strategic plan on how to put this out to bid, but I'm hoping to have some more information on that soon as well. So that's it for my update at this current time. I know I did promise this year that I did want to add in some new services. So what I'm hoping to do is actually acquire an intern if possible, to be able to kind of do some of the administrative work with everyone and kind of gather information on what we need to do to offer some new annual bids. I think the first year that we do some of these is probably the hardest. So, after that, it'll just be, getting the wheels in motion, but gathering that information is going to be critical. So that's it for my update on the current bids for our cooperative contracts. Does anybody have any questions? Questions?
I don't have any questions, Jen. This is Amber. Just a comment. With the fuel and oil bid coming up, I'm not sure if everyone's been following the market, but it's something that municipalities should really start taking a look at, and if we're going to be getting fixed pricing or OEP pricing, because the market's so volatile at the moment. So I just want to put that out there to make sure everyone's aware.
Yep. Absolutely. Thanks, Amber. I appreciate that. I did want to have kind of a stakeholder meeting and go over again the difference between the fixed contracts and the OEP, and this year the NYMEX differential. So one of the things that we kind of had to utilize the state contract because I didn't get this differential in this past bid, becoming a gasoline and diesel and energy commodity expert. slowly but surely. So one of the things that we needed was the NYMEX differential to be able to lock in a significant amount of gallons. So if you, OEP is really delivery based. So if it's just, the next delivery, it goes based off the OEP price. But if, all of a sudden the market is, super low and you want to lock in, a couple of 1,000 gallons of diesel or gasoline because the market's just that good, you have that NYMEX differential. So it's already been bid. The price is locked in as far as the markup. So you can absolutely do that and procure it that way. So it's going to allow you a little bit more flexibility as you're getting, your fuel for your town. So yeah. So I'm actually hoping that in the next couple of weeks I can start watching the market, because that's always like the challenge, right? Is to make sure I get it bid right at the, sweet spot, or at
It's
least
an impossible task, Jen.
Right, exactly. I know, like trying to figure that out. I probably have a better, chance of picking tonight's winning lottery tickets than I do picking of which date is the best for that. So
We all very much appreciate how much work you put into that bid. Please know that.
Thank you. And I appreciate that a lot. I do. Yeah, no, I love it. I've learned so much about it, past 15 years, it was always, we're just going to buy it off state contracts. So I never had to worry about it, never thought about it. So I've learned a lot and I still love learning. So it's great. Any other questions about the county bids at this time? Okay. And then as far as other business, the only thing that came to mind for myself is that I actually took a look at the CCAPPO bylaws recently, and we're supposed to have an election today, I think. So, so I'm going to have that tabled to the next meeting, I guess every 2 years. And apparently, it's been 2 years since since we've all had our last CCAPPO election. So we'll go ahead and I'll send out some information on that as well. I do want to let everybody know that the next meeting is going to be a really great topic. We're able to get confirm Michael Smith from the Department of Labor Standards to talk about one of our favorites, prevailing wage. So I encourage all of our members to attend that, spread the word. If there are, other staff that you would like to invite to the meeting, it's on March 22nd. I believe, I want to say it's at 10 o'clock. I think I sent out an invite already to everybody, but let me just double check and give you the correct time on that. It is at 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock, March 22nd, Department of Labor Standards, prevailing wage. So that's always a good topic. Bring your questions. I'm sure there are plenty of scenarios that we want to kind of bring to them. It's my understanding that Steve Falcone, if you've ever dealt with him, has retired, and I think Michael took over for him, if I'm not mistaken. But he's going to be presenting to us along with a colleague, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be a good one. Then in May, we're entertaining the idea of bringing a hybrid meeting. Hopefully, fingers crossed, COVID is a little bit calmer by then. I'm sure it won't go away, but we'll be able to maybe do a hybrid meeting. At that time, we don't have a speaker as of yet. But I was thinking about inviting Patricia Burke from Combis to kind of give us, another overview of Combis. If you have any new staff or users that are still kind of iffy when it comes to Combis and want to learn how to utilize the tool, that's right now it's TBD, but that's what we're looking at for May. So, but at the very least, we're hoping for a hybrid meeting. So that's the good news. Anything else? I can go on and talk all day. So are there any questions, comments? No. Why so quiet? All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I guess I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
This is Amber Patterson. I'll move to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second?
Hi, Laura Hayden, seconds.
Thanks, Laura. All right. Motion is made, seconded. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Everybody have a great day. I'll be sending out a newsletter at some point. So everybody have a wonderful day. Look for that newsletter, little recap of today's meeting and information, and you know where to reach me if you have any questions. All right.
Thank you, Jen.
You're
Thanks,
very
Jennifer.
welcome.
Take care. Thank you.
You too. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.